everybody!
Hi there.
We're Beer and Gear. Gear and Beer.
Gear and Beer.
I'll never say that right.
Bozeman, Montana. This is Blaze.
That's Joe, people. And we're beautiful. It's summertime in Bozeman, Montana.
It's gorgeous.
It's I love it. Yeah, it only took till mid-July to get that.
It went from rain to it was smoky yesterday, and then it rained and settled that smoke. But it's a weird summer out here.
It is, yeah, a lot of moisture.
I'm kind of liking the how cool it is, but
it's kind of nice.
But it's our wettest summer.
Stay tuned. We have a weather show that we do later on. Full on chart. We even have pie charts.
Speaking of wet things, though. We got these beer bugs.
That could go anywhere, Joe.
No.
What's going on here? I noticed that there's what are these different ways of putting beer in my belly?
I think they're like fraternity devices. You drink beer out of them.
These were there's some naked 300-pound dude face down on a lawn in front of a building with Greek numbers on it, and he just had two of them in his hand.
Yeah, it's weird. They're
and
not
you
guitars.
Grabbed them. You stole them from him.
So I think these are our new beer. They're our new beer drinking devices.
Smells like Axe body spray and Chardonnay. I don't know what that means, but we'll get a good. Yeah, I'm ready to. I want to drink some beer.
It smells like K-Rab with like fake crab and and boons.
Yeah, Mad 2020 and boons. We're gonna need beer. Let's try these out.
Need beer. Let's do some chugging.
I want to do some chugging.
Okay.
I want to just like college.
Oh, good. Our guest is here.
Hey
guys!
Oh, he
brought beer.
Oh, sweet! Now we can use these. How you doing? Here, take my seat. I'll we're gonna do something new. You take my seat, and I'll go in the middle.
Okay.
Never done this before.
This is new stuff then.
Yeah. We're
right.
reading.
Hey, Jake.
Oh man!
Brought some beers for
Jake.
you.
Yes.
Brought them on Tucky.
Look at that.
Awesome.
There's a horse running. That says Montana right there. There's a horse just running in a field.
Yeah, you know who did that art is Wilson Raska.
Oh yeah.
1,000 Arms.
1,000 arms.
Pretty
1,000
sure.
baby arms.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
He does a lot of.
Pretty sure he made that.
A lot of great logos.
Oh man,
You
that's
want
awesome.
those?
Thank you very much.
Tall
Great.
ones.
We were just.
Come on, Tucky.
Yeah.
Tall ones, I went with those because
It's gonna be a long
they
morning.
give 8% back to local causes.
Ooh, that's nice.
They do.
They do.
Blaze and I appreciate that it's a tall.
How do I get to be? How do I get to be a local cause?
Well, your choice.
Okay, I'll have to work out. Maybe there's some paperwork to do.
Yeah.
At
first,
thank you very much.
Oh, do you
Actually,
want these are 8% beer? No, I'm good.
This company, very nice people.
Oh my god. Oh.
They're
8%. I thought you meant 8%
That's
like
what I thought.
alcohol.
It's
I was
like,
like,
good.
oh my
These
god.
are nice, strong ones. Oh,
Sweet.
great.
Well, we got some new beer.
Chad
We got some new. Oh, sorry about that. We got some new beer delivery devices that we were just wondering we needed beer for it. So let's
let's just dump the
I'm
beer.
gonna
Whoa! These?
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what these are?
Yeah, well, these are things that we're gonna drink beer through. It's kind of like a bit. What are those things? Funnels? What are they called?
Like a beer
funnel
bong.
when they lift you upside down.
Oh,
you're
like
like,
keg stand.
go motherfucker, go.
Well,
Keg stand. It's like a keg stand, but it's its own little thing.
all right, let's get it going.
Or what they used to do? They do those funnels. All right, let's do it.
Oh, wait. I'd have to get all new pads.
Probably not. So that's not really why they're here, are
It
they?
might not be worth it today.
We're guitar players. We're not familiar with those devices.
So
Well,
so you play these to be creative.
I play these. I play these horns. It's basically a tube.
I thought. See, we usually have
Pretty much
guitar
just a
people,
tube.
Guitar people.
and so I was expecting guitars. I thought these were just lovely drinking devices.
or
But that's all right.
lamps
I'll
or-
drink out of this.
yeah.
This is Jake Fleming, and he is our guest today. He's a local dude who does a lot of great, wonderful music.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
He's a longtime friend of Music Villa, a personal friend of all of ours. We're real happy to have him here, and we've been waiting a while to get you on here.
yeah,
Thanks for having me.
and we're gonna have some
great.
really
It's
cool
exciting.
horn things going
Yeah,
on.
it's exciting for us to have he's a multi-instrumentalist, producer, writer, creative guy all around.
And more than that,
So-
Joe, he's an inspiration. Damn it! I look at him and what he's doing. He's doing all these wonderful things. He seems like a down to earth, at peace kind of gentleman. He's doing yoga and shit. Right? You're doing yoga. You're blowing the sax. That's the kind of life I want to lead.
He's also doing karate
Damn it.
so he can kick
You do
your
karate?
ass.
Do you do martial arts?
No, that's on the list.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna get.
I would
See, that's
just,
a natural
you know
progression.
what? You got the yoga, you got the saxophone. Just concentrate the nunchucks. Just
Yeah.
concentrate on the nunchucks.
I kind
Maybe
of
some
had
light
a little
throwing
bit.
star work.
Yeah, maybe a little light throwing star work. But the nunchucks give you that edge.
We had it in our house a little bit. My mom was studying taekwondo.
Nice.
Nunchucks?
Yeah, we had some nunchucks.
Yeah,
and
see?
Mom
There
with
was-
nunchucks is good. My mom had the wooden spoon and whacked me with it.
I got
If she
the
had
wooden spoon.
nunchucks, I wouldn't be here right now.
I got the wooden spoon. But the chucks were for defense only, not for punishing children. But she
Oh,
did
man.
teach us how to throw
That's
punches and kicks. And then
awesome.
we thought we'd try to spar with Mom. My brother called her on in the living room one time, and he
took
went
you guys
one
down,
kick.
didn't you?
Yeah, one flip, and he was over. I said,
Oh.
I will not be calling on my mom.
See, imagine
No
if you had
sparring with
the
Mom.
film phones back then. You would have had a video. You would have been filming it and
Would've been
videoing
viral.
it, and then you could relive it and show your brother all the time.
It would be great.
Yeah.
He would love it. I'm
Now-
sure it's in
Karate
his-
mom kicks son's ass.
I love that. That is the best.
Taekwondo mom.
That is the best thing I've heard all day. Now, where are you from?
I grew up in Rapid City, South Dakota.
Oh, how was that? That's a big tourist destination. You go there to see the Mount Rushmore kind of area. No,
The reptile,
right?
the
Or is that
giant
Spearfish?
reptile
Reptile gardens. They
Yep.
got those 130-year-old tortoises in there,
Mm-hmm.
alligators. Yeah, it's big time. Tourism is the industry of South Dakota.
that seems like an interesting place. So you're there, but I grew up in New York. You play basketball or baseball, or whatever. You're going to all these different schools, and they're all within an hour, and you're playing all these different schools. Is there other schools around there? You're in the desert.
You're playing
It's like
Bismarck,
just
you're-
you guys, and that's it.
Well, they
Is
hate
that
they hate,
scrimmage all the time?
they hate North Dakota and South Dakota.
Oh,
They
is
have
that
a
it?
Bitter,
Kind of like a
bitter
north
rivalry.
and south.
They're feuding.
They got a thing for
Those
sure.
North Dakotans.
Oh no, it's a pretty
Don't cross this line.
in the city limits. I was going to say pretty big town, but not pretty big town.
It's a pretty big town.
It's a big enough town to host 2 high schools.
Okay.
Within the city limits, there's this population of 67,000. There's an Air Force Base, Ellsworth Air Force Base right off. So all that population comes in, and then surrounding areas. And the Black Hills are there. So it's just kind of a
It's a funky little spot.
a hub for the Black Hills.
And there's college there, yeah.
There is. There's
Okay.
a School of Mines.
Okay.
And
It's a good name for a college.
School of Mines. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's Black Hill State University, which is Spearfish.
Yeah.
Where Lang's from.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Spearfish,
that's,
nice
that's
town.
right.
Cool.
And- Yeah. So, what kind of music were you exposed to? What got, like
Yeah.
you're in this unique area? Is it just classic rock radio? Is it just like what did you see it? What inspired you to play music? How did you start? What's the deal?
I was a teenager probably before I really was able to differentiate that my dad's music was not James Taylor's music, meaning that he would play James Taylor tunes and
Oh,
his
and you thought
tunes
he
and
wrote
other
them.
tunes. Yeah, and I thought that was his.
Ah!
That was it. And then that's somebody.
You're pretty
that's
good,
not
Dad.
his song. That's okay. So all that to say that
Dad's like, damn it, he caught on to me.
yeah, I grew up
Oh, well.
with my dad playing music with his friends.
Cool.
So a very casual, very old type of tradition. I'm talking hundreds of years old before we had phonographs and wax recordings where
Right.
people could listen to music without having to make it live. And families used to gather like this and play music at the end of the day and so on and so forth. So I kind of grew up in that. We call it a living room
in the
thing
house.
or a back porch kind of a thing.
That's cool.
And learned to play guitar along with my dad. Probably, I remember being very young, 2, 3. He's playing guitar. I reach up and I strum the strings like we do. And there was never a no. It's just always this free. This is music. This is me. This is you. So I've always felt like very comfortable with music and like
Right,
it's a
it's been
natural
part of your
thing
life.
for everybody.
Yeah.
And then I started to become a teenager, with hormones and angst. And we were on the interstate, so we were a great stop-off for touring acts. Like, my first rock concert was Styx.
Wow.
Nice. We need to remember this point of every guest. We're gonna ask what their
First
first rock
show,
is.
yeah.
So Styx.
Styx, and I
wait.
was 10.
Nice.
Oh,
And
wow, that's big
it was
for
an
10-year-old.
arena show, and
That
I
was probably in
went.
their heyday, like right in their.
It was.
heard loud
It was
electric
Mr.
guitars.
Roboto and all this. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I was hooked. I was done. You know,
Sure.
that was it.
Nice.
Oh, because the power, you know, of both the music, but the sound system and the audience,
Yeah.
and the whole
Right.
thing.
It's a big impression.
And they're up there with their magic wands, and
Oh, yeah.
you know, they're playing music and they're singing. And then the next concert I went to was Yes.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
So those were my first big live rock concerts, and then everyone started
that's
coming
big.
through. So, you know, these are Quiet Riot, Poison, Motley Crue, Def
Sure.
Leppard days, and
Yeah.
that was the music that I first called my own. Was this you know, hair rock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that.
I had this white tiger stripe handkerchief. Now I know what to do with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but kind of around that same time, kids were being offered the opportunity to play band instrument.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sign up the first year; I wasn't into it, but the second year they came around and did a demonstration. It was a cartoon, and we'd watch this cartoon, and the different characters would come out and play the different instruments.
Oh,
This
cool.
guy came out, played this tenor, and I heard that sound, and it was the softer,
Nice.
you know,
Nice.
and I was like, yeah. That's what I want to do. So I was
That's cool.
sixth grade. So I started late, played with the fifth graders, picked it up and played, and then I was in the school band thing. So that was kind of the music education side branch, and then the beginning stuff, the living room music was the every person's music branch.
Right.
And so I played the sax all through high school and followed my my dreams of becoming a rock star, and you know, I thought, you know, I finally committed to music about at age 16, like I'm gonna do music. It was either
Right.
music or
Coal mines.
in honor of coal mines.
I have this thing where I think everyone's going to be working the coal mines
Yeah.
wherever they grew up. That's not really the
Yeah.
case, though, is it?
No.
Okay.
A little more like the path of Stacy. It was either going to be music or cosmetology.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's doing them both, man.
He's doing them both. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Makes sense. Hair rock. I do hair.
Manny Petties and Ruff.
Yeah.
And then later in high school, when I first committed to, I'm going to be a musician, I thought that I'd get out of high school, go to LA, become a rock star. But by the time that arrived, it was I graduated high school in 92. So 91 was coming on, and you guys might remember the kind of the resurgence of the 60s during that time.
Oh, yeah.
Born on 4th of July.
Yep.
And Christ Doesn't Ash the Dead were getting all popular again. And
Forrest
that.
Gump soundtrack.
Yeah.
Is all
I graduated in
60s music.
91,
That's
so
a
I know what
weird-
you're talking
weird
about.
But it was
Exactly.
a thing then.
You definitely, it was
Yeah.
this thing of like that 60s.
I was listening to Jimi
thing.
Hendrix.
Wonder
and the Doors
Years
and
was
stuff
on.
Yeah.
You know,
was
like
after
all this stuff.
after Kurt Cobain died too. It kind of like that was a big hit for rock, for like the new rock and roll. You know what I mean? And grunge kind of took a
big hit.
And,
but it was right at the height there in the
Yeah.
60s, and this whole
Right
like
before- yeah.
reclaiming like
Yeah.
this whole
There was this
movement
whole
of this is who
60s
we
thing.
are, you know, and I just want to be who I am, and
Right.
so I started listening
Woodstock
to
'94.
Yep. Started listening to a lot more classic rock and just older stuff that I'd never listened to before, and finally discovered the Beatles for myself after my dad telling me for a few years, like, I'm telling him about Metallica, and I'm telling him about these bands. He's like, so what do you like about that? And I'm trying to describe it to him, because it was all mostly what I understood at the time was just energy and emotion.
Sure.
You know, and I related to it. And he's like, well, the Beatles is real rock and roll. And I'm like,
Right.
that doesn't even sound anything like, you know, I was into the sound too, the sonic quality of these recordings, which was not the Beatles, but I didn't understand their music yet. But so through the sax and through playing jazz and starting to play jazz and listen to jazz, I started to get this much wider thing. And I was falling in love with classical music too, and we were playing Mozart pieces in band and really starting to just digest music and what you know, wow, this is amazing.
So who's your first big jazz influence? Sax player. First tenor guy that really resonated with
and
you.
what? Yeah.
Probably, I mean, my first that I found for myself and attached myself to his expression was Sonny Rollins.
Oh, great. Yeah,
But
great tone.
I like his humor and his quirkiness. Coltrane was the first. Well, as an adult, I don't know how many years ago now, but I came back and I was listening to "In a Sentimental Mood" that he recorded with Duke Ellington, and just heard this line, that rising line at the beginning of the song, and went, I've heard this before. And I sent it to my dad, and he's like, oh yeah, we used to play that vinyl all the time when you were just a little guy.
Oh, cool.
Just a
wow.
little baby.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
And he was playing. I was like, that makes sense because it really feels like home.
Yeah.
So Coltrane is deep and philosophically and cosmically and spiritually, I align with Coltrane. He's just such a monster. He was always so serious about it.
Very serious. I was about to say.
Very hard to like, not very playful. And
No.
but Sonny
Very
Rollins will just play around with a triad. It's really funny stuff.
We were talking about this in college a lot of
Different approaches.
Monk and Coltrane together. Monk has a lot of humor in his music.
Yes, he's
Yeah,
hilarious.
I love
And
Monk.
so, and
He's
those
quirky.
two, that union, is cool because it is, Coltrane is so serious, and he got, with a guy like Monk,
Right.
it's that the humor is
Getting
in
in.
that. It's
It's written in.
yeah, it's written in. What
Okay.
brought you to Bozeman? Let's fast forward.
Chasing a lady.
The mountains
Oh,
and the
right.
school. The mountains and the college. I was looking for a college. Didn't get too much advice from high school counselors at the time. They weren't, very proactive. Which was
I
fine.
second that.
But I was gonna, right?
Yeah.
So I was gonna
Could've been a
go
much better
to
person.
either the University of Minnesota. So I was gonna head down to Prince Territory, or Montana, because
you're gonna go east or west?
yeah, my cousin had come up here. He was going to school here, and he had just gotten out of the Marines, and he was coming up to attend school. He's like, "Yeah, man, you should check out Bozeman. It's got granolas and hicks, and it's kind of a nice balance of everything. The rivers, the mountains. I think you'd really like it." So I came up for a visit. And the mountains really blew me away. And I'm not
Fell in love with
avid
it right away.
outdoor. It's just the presence of them,
Yeah.
Like, being in the
Every day you
presence
look
of
up.
It's a little
greatness.
vortex, isn't it?
It's meditative.
It is, and that's great for me. And then when I do get up into them, huge bonus. And then I was talking with my mom, so I don't know, Mom, what should I do? And I
She
kind of
just handed you the
I don't know if I
nunchucks and
wanted
said,
to.
"You
She says,
go."
Bozeman feels good to me. And I said,
good. Motherly
Bozeman
advice.
it is. Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
so Mom, it was going to be the same like tuition, and then I came up here, and much smaller scene than Minneapolis, but
Right.
after all these years of playing music and touring around and seeing the country and other parts of the world, nothing has pulled me like Bozeman.
Pulls you back.
Yeah.
Pulls me back.
So
Yeah.
can we touch on your band Stuhl?
Stuhl, yes, that was
I remember still when I moved here.
Yeah. that was a fun
classic.
project. So I met Chuck Goodwin. We were playing in the MSU jazz band together, jazz ensemble, and Lenny America,
Can't
who
picture Chuck
was
Goodwin.
Lenny Woodward then. He was drumming in that ensemble.
Yeah, okay.
And it was just a couple years later, or 1 year later, that Adam joined the ensemble, Adam Platt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah.
I got in with all these guys really early, and everyone was forming bands. There was Jazz Discharge in those days, and people were just, it was the thing, because there were jam bands were coming out.
And so was August in that group too? Was he in that group of jazzers?
Yep, and August, and I met him right away, just through the music scene, and we were playing some music with some other guys together.
And the town was so much smaller then too, so it's like you just probably met anyone that was in the similar path or
It was
whatever.
really easy to get something going.
Yeah.
And so started talking with Chuck and Og. I had been doing he had this project going with another guitarist who lived over in the Ty Lane apartments, and we rehearsed there, and Peliquin was the name of this band, and he was just it was a guitar-based thing, 2 guitars, and then sax, and then whoever else he could round up. But he was this edgy songwriter out of Los Alamos, New Mexico, and he was writing these tunes. But I was playing with James, who was this really, very docile person, more like August, gentle and easygoing. So they were playing together, and we were all doing things, and let's get Chuck together, and let's get Lenny together. So we did a couple jams. Lenny couldn't sign on to the band, and John Paul Travis showed up in town, and I saw him at MSU, actually in the he was playing this 1-4-5 progression, just ripping it up on the piano, just going up and down, very, very Page McConnell from Fish like. Fish was hitting really hard, right? Or
that was
really hard at the time, like mid 95,
Sure,
94.
There you go.
After
the band went on for 3 years, so we started in 93.
That was only 3 years, huh?
Yeah.
Because you guys made a record and
we
played a lot.
Yeah, we made a record. So we formed. So, wow, man, you play the piano. That's awesome. What else do you do? So we're just meeting. I play drums. Oh, you play drums? Gets up there, all funky the way he plays and forward moving. And, well, you want to come try this out? So we get together and it was fun. We had a band. So we started writing music and everyone started to think about, not really. We didn't really want to do covers unless they were super cool. And kind of the one that brought the most covers was Chuck, and he was bringing Zappa.
Yeah.
And of course, we did Stranglehold. Ogbot brought Stranglehold to the mix. Somebody brought Chili Peppers, Yertle the Turtle to the mix. So we were kind of trying to write music, and I'm a softie, I love ballads. So I'd bring my thing to the mix, which were these kind of more popish, like lighter tunes. And we started doing well, and at least as a band, and getting our tunes together, and it was kind of a complex mix of things that we were putting together. And
I remember you guys were. Yeah, I remember it was a party up near Bridger Bowl.
Where we
like in 95 or something. Yeah. Well, that was my buddy Alex and I. We just we're going to open up and be the attempts. But we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We were attempting on just doing something.
Yeah.
So we just were we ended up not playing, I think. We were on the poster or whatever, but we didn't play. I think it just didn't work out. We're I don't know what happened.
Play at all,
I don't think so. I think we went in the driveway and just played lawn chairs or something.
Where was the time we did
I can't remember.
Was it David Troy's?
Maybe there was Gravy thing that we did together though. And then I think Dave was
Gravy right after.
Yeah,
right at that same time.
Yeah, just right after, pretty much that year, So, I don't know. I just have this visual of there was this funky place, and it was in there near Bridger Bowl in the canyon, and you guys were playing. There was a lap pool. I don't know if you remember, there's a lap. You guys were playing. I remember watching you guys play. And there was a lap.
Big warehouse thing.
Yeah, it's
a lap pool.
Yeah, there's a lap pool, just this thin, long pool to do laps. Which is whoa, I never seen that before in my life. And then
I do not.
And it was such a great party. It was such a great party because we were sitting at you sit around the lap pool and stuff, and that was just to the one side, and then it was an open thing for people to dance or whatever. Yeah. But it was. That's my vision of Stool, and we were supposed to do something, and me and Alex didn't, but we ended up goofing around and on the driveway and playing or something.
That's hilarious. Later we did play some, but I think it was a Gravy.
That was a later, and I feel like there was that too.
Gravy
stool
gravy,
stool gravy. But now, so what? So that was in the past, and then what's your bands you're in now and stuff or what are we doing now, or what's the progression?
That moving into this, my job in that band my role was to play sax, which was unique.
Sing a little bit.
Yeah, that was exciting.
I sang and I played guitar. And those are the three things that I'm still doing now. So that was the first time that I was in a band where I was able to kind of work on those things and start to embody those three things and switch between the instruments. And I really, really got off on it.
That's fun.
It.
And it made a different sound. You didn't have a horn in a band, a young band and stuff. Yeah. I remember back east we had this band called Chakra out of Boston, I think. And they were this total original band, progressive stuff. I think the drummer's the dude in Motet and stuff. But they had a saxophone player, and that was the first just real new exciting saxophone player rock band that's jammy. And so then we coming out here seeing you doing that, I was like, sweet. It was a cool thing.
It's happening.
You didn't see it much.
Let's talk about your current bands, but then I want to know when you started messing with sounds on sax and pedals and stuff. But let's talk about bands.
Okay, so bands, the two hardest working bands I'm in right now are Pinky and the Floyd and the Tiny Band. Mm-hmm. And in Pinky, I get to do the acoustic guitar,
Dan Fogelberg cover band.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and the Dan Fogelberg, yeah.
Yep. Oh wait, Pinky and the Floyd's Pink Floyd.
That's kind of. And then the Tiny Band is mostly Motown and soul and R&B, but we do some modern stuff too. Mm-hmm. And I sing about a third of the material in that one, and then play guitar and sax also. So I get to do those things, and those are bands that are working a lot and established. But I've been in Pinky, I think 9 years of the 10 that it's been.
Yeah,
and
long time
like that. And then
the first year was just a couple of them just stoned on acid. sitting on pillows playing acoustic, and then they got more. Just like Pink Floyd started.
It was great when I joined in, though. I walked into this rehearsal and went, "Holy, this music's happening live!" Just lots of goosebumps, and I'm in on this. So nice. It was really fun, and that's been a really fun journey. Yeah. The Tiny Band's a 9-year-old ensemble as well, and we serve a lot of people's parties and weddings. And
it's a party band.
Yep, it's a full-on party band with good vibes and a good song list that's just kind of been crafted by what people respond to. Yeah, it's got nothing really to do with it's a nice practice in getting yourself out of the way.
And learning just a ton of songs through the. I mean, you think about that band, through the years. How many songs, covers have you learned? It's good. It does help your growth as a musician at any age, right?
Yeah, and musicians need to study music. Yes, that's what we have to do. If you're not writing 15 songs a day, then you need to be doing something like practicing. And I say that because I just recently met a successful songwriter out at Chico. We were just soaking. He's from Nashville, and what do you do? Well, what do you do down there? Are you making it? And I asked about Adam, Petrov, and heard the name, and cool. And so we met, and his name's Ross Copperman. Huh. He's got 19 number 1 hits. Damn. And he's got his own thing. He's got mailbox money. He's got mailbox money. Yeah, totally. Cool. And really nice guy. I said, so how did that happen for you? Did you go study songwriting or whatnot? He said, well, I grew up as a classical piano player and was doing that, so he had skills. And he said, and then he was in college and doing some music and started getting onto the songwriting things. He said, so I started to write 15 songs a day. Damn. I said, so you weren't allowing yourself to get attached then. You were just crafting and writing. He's like, yeah, no attachment, all craft. Just getting really good at it. And
cool.
That's impressive.
That's how it can be done.
Yeah. Like Stephen King.
Yeah.
With his books.
Actually, truly. Yep.
He does what? Truly. 3 pages a day. Like he's got this thing. I'm going to do this every day. I think he does 3 pages a day. Yeah. And then or if he does more, great. But at least he does that, and it's like that's how he gets prolific. He's just got you put it in your routine,
prolific. And those guys,
and you embrace it.
It's like Paul Simon or somebody. It's like they've been doing it. It's all they've done. Yeah. They've worked one job and then they did that, and that's all, and then they've done it. So it's like it's hard. It's daunting to even think
about. All you 20-year-olds out there,
totally to get that good.
You got to work hard.
My age, forget
work
and
it's
hard. Like Springsteen. Like
Springsteen's he's a worker. He's a lifer.
If he wasn't going to be a musician, he was going to be a miner. And he was going to dig all the way through the earth. You
ever think about guys like Jerry Garcia? Like if he hadn't, what would that guy have done if he hadn't had those opportunities?
Be making pizzas or some shit.
It would have been. We would have really missed out.
Yeah. Which goes with what Corey Congilio. I keep thinking of that. I'm like, people. This is a neat thing if you ever. But because I know you watch our show religiously. But no, we had a guest on who's from Nashville and a session guy, and he's great. And I love his thing about people need your art. Like I've been thinking about that on stage lately, even though if it's whatever it is, even if it's cover band or whatever, like that person, someone's gonna be there doing this, or like you have.
Well, you're creating the vibe,
it's motivated for you to play it, and it's something.
Like when I'm playing
if you could touch 2 people, they needed that art, they needed your playing, man. And it's such a cool thing. It's inspirational to kind of think of that.
I play musical wallpaper gigs all the time, and I have no problem with that. Yeah. And if people are talking, hanging out, I'm just setting a vibe, and it's I'm not
you're not playing Carnegie Hall. Your background,
they're the brewery or whatever to have a beer and talk to their friends, and but me sitting there in the corner playing, singing, whatever, it's just like facilitating a vibe.
Yeah, and that might just be, and that someone's going to think that's wonderful, even though they didn't hear all your.
Yeah, they don't.
Now I think you should. Not face the wall and start facing the audience when you play. I don't know, Joe.
Yeah, well, you think your
You need to start doing that.
You need a bigger stage for this. To speak to that, on that one end of the spectrum with the working bands and being a professional musician, there's these hardworking bands. We show up and we do the show and we keep getting it better. Yeah, get paid, and that's your thing. And then in the middle of that spectrum, I've got my jazz gigs that might pay anywhere from $12 with the big band on a Sunday night to
we have to have all those outlets.
Yeah, to $50 at Red Tractor or nothing here or something there
and then producing. Don't you think as an artist, as a musician, that's part of the lineage too? Like I look at you, I would love to get into that. I would like to eventually hit that point where I'm helping other artists. Because I love doing songwriting with kids and stuff like that. But I'd love to do
the restraining order.
people with production.
Inhibits it.
But producing, fun, right?
Yeah.
Once that's lived, it's gonna be great.
Totally. Yeah, all the music production, the things that you are part passion, part professional, you know, and part just study, and like jazz is constant musical study. And then on the far end of the spectrum over here, I have a whole group of instruments that I work with because I want to nurture my relationship with music without any of this other
you're playing
noise.
harmonium stuff.
Yeah, harmonium, native flutes, singing bowls, chanting, and whatever. You know, the Armenian duduk, things that I'll put on recordings because I love to make recordings.
Do you jam with those kirtan guys?
Yeah, I'll get with the kirtan folk, and they use my wife's studio and all that. So when I have time, I get in there, and I've got a kirtan book I put together. So there's a number of projects that when I do have free time, I'll dump some time into it, and those help me to just really sink in as who I am, and like I do this, you know, and it all contributes to everything.
Let's get to your gear and
here's some gear,
and talk about it. Maybe hear some sounds too and everything.
And who inspired you, or what led you to go into effect? Because I would imagine you probably played sax en natural for a period of time.
Straight through, and that's it.
Yeah, you know, I should probably mention...
This is for saxophones, people.
Yeah, this is the saxes. This is a whole thing. I try to, being a disciplined musician and person, I guess, I think holistically, so I try to kind of get everything together, which is not always awesome, because sometimes you need to be very specific, like this pedal does a great job, or this one, you know, instead of the big unit, which I tried first. But going all the way back to when I was a teenager in the 80s, my dad had a home studio set up, and he was working on his songs and his album.
Very cool.
And that's when I started to learn how to use a 4-track recorder, the Fostex.
Sweet.
And he taught me how to do it, and I did my sophomore in high school demonstration speech on making your own recording. And I hauled in the instruments and did a 12-bar blues and laid them down one at a time and did that and took up the whole class, and teacher loved it. He was cool. He was very much into art. So for me, all this stuff kind of goes way back to my roots and my beginnings, and recording's always been there. When we started to make the transition into digital music, you know, using computers to record music, I was really, really against it. So this was back in the Stuhl days, in the mid '90s. It was starting to happen, and I'm like, no. I was trying to be a purist and trying to follow and fall in love with jazz. No, I will never use computers for music. You know, and, well, you know, I've gone 180 from that. But
so convenient.
We started making albums with it, and at that time, it was like learning everything over, but the love of it was still there. So this whole thing kind of extends from that, going way back. I wanted to create a system, and so I looked for a board that would do what I needed it to do. So this system is actually designed to hook up with my computer. And do live tracks and production and launch things and you know, so the USB and the multiple ins, and then I could come through effects or not use effects. So this can be used in a bunch of different ways. Mostly these days, because of the gigs I have, this is serving as my pre-mix board. So like Pinky and the Floyd is where I use it actually. And I've got all these 3 channels hard pan to the left. So this is my guitar channel. So I'll plug my guitars in there and run it through another board and come into channel 3. And then this is the sax, and this is...
So are you sending front of house just a single XLR off of that board, and you're dealing with...
You're doing more PA rather than an amp.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Guitar and sax.
So it's a huge DI for all your stuff.
Exactly.
So are you one channel on the front of house mixer from this?
Chuck will come in and he'll grab this for my guitars.
And you'll hard pan them.
And they're hard panned, yeah.
Makes sense.
So this isn't actually do it. This was just an experiment. Sometimes I'll run it and I want to have effects on every channel, so
that's a nice way of
I'll
doing
run
that,
it as a
man.
loop.
You could have certain channels or just pan to one side. That's a great way of doing that.
Yep.
Actually, I can't believe I never...
Cool.
And then you can use the onboard effects if I want to get another delay or use some flanging or something like that. And I don't have very many pedals, obviously, because I just haven't gotten there yet. But there's, this one's gone. So, yeah. I thought, well, I'll get it all in one and try to get this together. But when I'm playing live, I don't put my guitars through effects. It's an acoustic guitar, and it plays the acoustic guitar roll, and that's what it does. But when I'm doing like some live yoga music, for a class, and I've got all these grooves up, I'll have all these effects running through there, so I can dial in delays and verbs and create soundscapes,
things,
atmospheric. Or
now, do you have a strobe light and a smoke machine going on while you're doing that?
Only for the night sessions.
Okay. Good. Yes. I've seen some of those yoga shows. They're wild.
Yeah, deep house yoga.
Come to the night one. Yeah, that's good.
Yep, deep house yoga. Me and Blaze are going to deep house yoga.
Yeah.
It's cold. It's cold
Got
deep
mats.
house yoga.
Yeah. I double fist the mats.
I wear like an ice suit, like the muscles to be really cold. When
you're not gonna, probably not gonna tear them that way.
Well, let's hear some of this stuff.
All right, you want to hear?
Now, real quick, your acoustic guitars. Now, you said you have not this one, but you have a T5.
I do have a T5, and it's the Koa Custom like that.
That's right. It is
with the black. It's just the bigger body.
Yeah, that's right.
And you play a little classical. You have a steel string and a nylon with Pinky, right?
Yes.
You have some Goodbye Blue Sky, some stuff.
Yeah, actually, I said yes. When we do the wall, I'll bring out a nylon guitar. Otherwise, sometimes I use the baritone, the Tacoma baritone.
That thing's sweet. Yeah,
and real deep, which works for like background acoustic guitar on Comfortably Numb, and I use it for some other tunes. But that, and then the T5, and I'll bring that out. So sometimes I'll have 2 or 3 guitars out there.
Cool.
Blaze, I think we should have a band where we do yoga while we're playing in the band. We're like,
I think so.
I
think that'd be good.
Well.
If
I can Blaze and I can't do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I need more stretching. I need to take a beginner class.
We're not that limber.
Yeah.
I've been
I keep ripping my yoga pants.
Everyone's been working
on that concept.
Oh, and by the way, people, just for we are going to talk to Jake about.
Let's
we are going to talk to Jake about this. This is not a good idea.
So come to Music Villa, buy the Hosa.
You get one of these, so then it's less strain on your input check that's going to go eventually, or bonk it once you bonk it.
Should we see?
So just telling you guys how to do that. So there you go.
Should we try it out and see if it works?
Yeah. You want to do it?
Yeah. Let's see if
Sorry,
it works.
I just had to.
Yeah, and I highly recommend for any sax players, if you're getting into gear, this is not good. But I'm very careful up on stage, and I have a whole bunch of stuff, and I block it off so no one's walking by. It's the same thing as the reeds,
But one
that makes me nervous.
One drummer.
That makes me nervous.
Right on that.
One grouchy sound man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kicking around on the stage.
Yep.
They're
it's always a drummer. No regard for cables.
Yeah.
They don't use them.
They don't use. They don't understand. Like, you guys have to carry a bunch of cables. I have to carry all these drums.
Yeah.
Well, they do have to. They do have to do a lot more work than the rest.
First one there, last one to leave.
Yep.
Easy to rip on drummers. So here we go. We're going to replace this long.
Look at that. You're going to be so happy.
Thing with something that can make my footprint a little smaller and more flexible.
Strain relief.
Look at that.
This. This is beautiful.
I feel more
comfortable now.
Furthermore,
that was like
for more security, guys. For more security.
Ooh.
People.
Come in under here.
People.
And.
See, it's coming together here. At Music Villa, we want to make things work for you.
Look at that.
And then
it can tuck under.
There it is. That's the move.
That's beautiful.
Oh,
this is nice.
See, this is a game changer.
This is nice.
Let's rock this out. Let's celebrate with some tunes.
What do you want to hear? I got a couple of saxophones.
Careless Whisper.
Here I have a tenor saxophone. I can
do
play Careless
compared to what? Les McCann and
this is a tenor sax.
And,
this is like the main saxophone.
Or whatever his name is. Who's the Les McCann
rock
guy?
and jazz.
Who? And the saxophone player.
For what?
And he always had the curly thing for the electric saxophone. Compared to what?
Eddie Harris.
Eddie Harris. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Oh, Eddie Harris is badass.
Let's do that song.
Can we hear?
You want the tenor? You want the Barry?
Let's hear tenor.
Let's first do tenor. And he's got this huge barrier. This thing is like this is like a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
This is huge.
Give me sax jokes,
beautiful.
It's massive.
I like when you play it 10 or 12 miles away. 10 or 12 dB quiet.
Tenor?
10 or 12
sax
miles away. Okay, so that's the sax just by itself, right?
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
As a music producer, also I like to play around with all the huge variety, endless combinations of reverb and delay and reverb, and you can just go so many places with it. You know, the different types of reverb, different types of delays. Sure. So I'm down to just that when it comes to
those pedals are so good
to
though.
effects.
They're like a rack unit in a pedal.
Yeah,
they're the same algorithms.
They're totally cool. They work great. You know, I might go for some. I'm not a reverb snob, but I have a certain sound of reverb that I really love, and I haven't been able to find it. But these work, and then this, and then I got this whammy just to have fun with. I wanted some harmonization.
Let's get freaky. Can we get freaky?
Yeah, that'd
We
be
can
cool.
totally get freaky.
I'm gonna run your
Yeah,
pedals.
I
If
wanna
you
do
don't
that.
mind.
Yep, you run the pedals.
Can I do stuff to
it-
this?
Do whatever you want.
Okay,
Yeah,
we're making this backwards. We're gonna go reverse.
Whoa.
You sure you don't mind?
don't mind at all.
Joe, you're out of control.
Part of my whole music philosophy is that I like to.
Is that backwards?
I like to just
Oh my God.
whatever works.
Yeah.
Like here's
You just,
something.
you just said Paul is dead.
Make it work.
Yeah, that was fun.
Total trip out.
So
That was great.
when we are done and open the door, there'll be a bunch of aliens like, "Hey, you called?" That was lovely.
That was fun. I
So
love making weird
if you
sounds.
if
Thanks,
you didn't
Jake.
have it, yeah.
That was
The cool thing about the sax is it's kind of like a voice when it comes to effects. You're still the voice is always going to be there.
yeah.
Or an
Right.
acoustic guitar, anything that puts out more sound. So it's always a surprise if I do decide to want to record something that's effects only, and there's no sax tone in there. Because then you can hide that it is a saxophone.
Oh.
But anytime you have to blend tone, then there's that consideration,
Sure.
which causes a different type of thing to happen in the brain. Oh, the dry tone's in there the whole time. And there's nothing like a dry saxophone. It's kind of a cheap shot. Like the way Clarence Clemens used it too, especially, would just lay into those long notes.
Sure.
Over
Right.
this
Real
big,
thick,
huge fabric of sound, that high energy Springsteen, and then here comes Clarence. And that's, if you read Bruce Springsteen's book, that
Have
I'm
it,
just
yeah.
starting to do that.
oh,
yeah.
so good.
Yeah, have it
Listen to
on my,
that on tape because he reads it.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he
have
reads
that on
it.
my,
And it's really
it's on
good.
my
But he talks about
read.
the moment when he met Clarence. He saw him walk in the back door of a gig, and he walked up, and they met, and they talked. And he said, and I finally found, and I heard him play, and I said, that's it. That's the sound
Nice.
that's the
needed
whole,
that.
Yeah.
that's the end of the sound. That's it. That's the cherry. That's it.
Yeah.
That
I
completes
got it.
my sound.
Cool.
And then he was stoked. He said, and Clarence was a real rock and roll sax player. He wasn't
He's a
just
rocker,
a jazzer slumming
No,
with the rockers.
he's a
on the
real rock and
weekends.
roll. He is.
Right.
And it's all
He's a rock and
about
roll
that
guy.
energy that the sax carries in its tone.
Oh yeah.
Which,
I do believe.
Well, a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of my favorite guitar, Jimi Hendrix and Garcia, my favorite classic rock guys, they were all heavily influenced by horn players.
Right.
And they were trying to not necessarily sound like another guitar player. They're trying to play those kind of horn lines.
We get in patterns with guitar where horn lines are fluid, they're phrasing,
and guitar
and that's
players,
it helps.
Like I'm terrible about this, about not taking breaths, because we don't have to.
Right.
We can sit there just all day.
I hold my breath the whole time.
And if you think like a horn player, you have better phrasing.
Yeah.
You'll have to take a breath.
It's definitely a great exercise to do.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. You have to stop. Yeah. Unless you're just only working on circular breathing, but that's like what then you don't have to phrase it.
I circular breathe on guitar all the time.
If you're gonna play
didgeridoo,
if you're gonna play Bach cello suites, then you
probably
probably want to circular breathe if you're doing them on the sax,
Yep.
or you're gonna have to figure out some phrasing.
Man, I saw David Murray play one time, like in a small room, and that dude
Up at the coffee shop.
It was at Vargo's with Kelly Roberti, and he kind of blew my mind, man. And he was playing these lines that were like 3 minutes long of shredding,
and that's it.
And look at that thing.
That's a really cool thing about the sax is that you sustain. It's like a stringed instrument that you can keep that sustain going, but you pluck a guitar, it starts to die right away.
Sure.
So like
decays.
a piano, and the decay's right there. And I think that guitarists, in fact, back to Stuhl in August, we would have discussions back then. He's like, saxophone players, I'm so jealous of them because they get this energy, because the tone just gets to keep going and going and going. And Santana did that really well. He would just be able to get these soaring long tones and hold out and like, wow, that's its own way.
Now this is a baritone. This is now when someone walks in the room with this, it's a different effect if I walked in with a ukulele.
Yeah.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Yeah, this
guy is going to do some shit, right?
This gets some serious attention.
We're going to hear some things we don't normally hear.
Totally.
Right?
So, of course, the thing that this is really well known for is its low end. It's a very low end instrument. It wraps around, so it's already this tall, and this is about half of its height. So this instrument
fit a small child in there.
Very tall.
Yeah.
And this is not the saxophones have a main quartet of instruments, and this would be the baritone saxophone, the tenor, then the alto, and the soprano. And those are the four that are mainly played. And then there's a bass and a contrabass.
Oh, yeah.
And then the sopranino on top. So there's 7 in the family.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
Yep.
Big load.
So this is a big...
If Kenny G didn't play it, me and Blaze aren't really interested.
Yeah, I only really tune into the soprano.
Yeah, the soprano smooth jazz.
And silky soprano.
I'll have to make a Barry Sax smooth jazz album for you.
Yeah.
Or just maybe one track. Let's not get into the whole album.
I need some baby making music. And
so this
I
one
going
has
now,
that
don't work.
low end, yeah. To get into is this whole range of the saxophone that you can't find fingerings for. Let me demonstrate. Here's all the notes on this saxophone that have just proper fingerings, like frets on a guitar where you'd play the whole guitar, but if you wanted higher or something, you could use harmonics and whatnot. So this has a whole harmonic system to it also, because if this is just a tube, then here's my fundamental note. But I can play its octave and its fifth and its octave. It works better when I'm warmed up.
Is that a B flat?
The note itself?
Yeah, what is that note?
Yes, I'm playing a low B flat.
Okay.
Whoa, ear training, Joe.
Good call. It's a concert D flat, however.
So, see, you missed that.
Because I'm transposed. But that's a B flat. And then they go way up there. And this is a range.
That's
so
that's
here's
the highest note in there? Wow.
No, here's the highest note. So here's the lowest. And here's all the ones in between the lowest and the highest fingered. Got a sticky one. There we go.
I usually have that.
goes.
That's a lot of range.
In its range.
How do you guys do the
cool.
harmonics on
And then you can go higher by playing these altissimo notes, which have fingerings.
Altissimo.
Yeah, altissimo. And you can go.
New spaghetti sauce. Altissimo.
So here was that highest one. And here's higher.
Wow, man.
So now I've gotten up to a D, and I can go. And then I can work with the fingerings, and I'll get into that in these weird. When I get really weird solos, I'll just go screaming. And so I'm gonna play up there, and now you play with the effects.
I'd like to hear the low. If we do an octave on this, play your low note, and I want to do a low 2 octave down.
Okay.
Is it harder to play this than a tenor and all that? It's because it's bigger, you have to blow more air?
They're different. Yeah. Once you learn how to use your air, it's not bad.
Okay.
But for a little person, who's just getting into sax, you come from an alto to a bari, they're it all just falls out. But it's the same for me, like on a flute, because I can't control the air as well. Oh. And I start playing a flute, and it just all goes in, and I have a lot. It's just I can't control it also well. So you want to hear
this is just experimental.
Some low stuff.
Yeah. Okay, let's get for you. And that's baby making music. That's Jabba the Hutt, baby making music.
Thanks, Jake.
So it gets into some fun stuff.
I think you guys should do a duet. You're on your hands and knees just doing that while he's playing.
I'll do that for 4 hours. That's
now,
so fun.
When you're writing music, do you have something, should we say anything online, that you have stuff online that you're doing, you're selling, or you got music on there or anything at this point? Or maybe in the future?
Yeah, if you go to jakesongs.com or Jake Fleming Music, my YouTube channel, I'm slowly building all of that stuff up, but I've got some instrumental music that I've written on there that can easily accompany yoga. Actually, all of the music was informed by yoga sequences and the breath. Oh. So that's how I figured out how many measures to write for that particular piece. So all of it's it's not like, I'm going to write a song. Okay, that feels good. This was very specific. Yeah. I made a spreadsheet and entered in formulas like, okay, this tempo, this key signature, for this amount of time, how many measures do I need to compose? You need 89 measures. Sweet! Wow. Easy. I can write 89 measures of music.
Wow.
No problem.
So tell real quick, we got to wrap this up, but real quick I want to touch upon the yoga as part of your influence of music, or what that is in your life, and what that is that you're doing. Are you writing those yoga things for playing live yoga? You're trying to match the breathing and the exercises that they're doing? Or
I've done that twice, and it's pretty rigid. It's a little more rigid than I think is appropriate for an individual's yoga practice. But if you wanted a real rigid one that really kicked your butt, then you do that one. So sometimes I do it, but I've kind of been, if it wasn't for yoga, I probably wouldn't have gotten on a healthy path of living, and I wouldn't have been able. Maybe I would have. I don't know.
You mean you don't drink Montucky early in the morning?
Not at 10. Not at 11. But I am going to try one later so I can join you and find out what it's like.
Yes.
I just have.
But that's what it was, a healthy. You made a choice to do this, or it came upon you.
It was. I chose it. Kind of people who get into a yoga practice and go into it deep, like a music practice, pretty much feel like it chose them, like music. Like, did you really choose music, or did it just kind of show up and take you?
Right.
Yeah.
And so yoga and yoga practice and all of the various philosophies and books that come with it, I am very deeply steeped in that, and it has made my music life that's so much easier to tolerate, because most of what yoga is to be okay with everything that arises at whenever it arises. And if you can apply that same that same concept and practice to your music making, like when you're writing a song and you get an idea and you want to throw it out, it's okay, let it be. Whatever your bandmates are going through, it's okay.
I love philosophy and music.
All that stuff, and yoga was just a real good balance. And they work so well together. So
go with the flow.
Artistically I fuse them, but philosophically probably more so, and as an act of physical practice, because as musicians, it's physical, but it's fine motor skills, and it's not good posture all the time. It's not that and that. So it really helps to be able to breathe. And as a wind player, of course, the breath. And so it's just as a perfect marriage of two disciplines for me.
I like
that's
that.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad I wanted to hear
We're
about
way over
that.
time, but we need one more little bit. You kind of just did it right there, but can you just impart a little bit of wisdom, final words of wisdom to any listeners? It doesn't have to be anything profound, just something that that was good that you came across in your life, that had
ideas,
like a philosophy, a little snippet, a little the more you know, something for the
one to grow on.
As much as I'd love to give you guys a quote that is from me and nice and original, there's something my dad told me years ago, and I keep understanding it more and more and more and more. And you know how you meet people and you have a conversation and you talk about your stresses and you say, well, I'm going to balance this out. I'm going to figure it out. And they say, well, let me know when you do. Right? That conversation. Well, I was having one of those with my dad one time, and he said, well, all you have to do is relax and pay attention.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay. And I understand that a lot more now, especially after, years and years of sitting there. And
it's being in the moment.
Yep. So as few things as we can boil it down to, and be comfortable with that, be happy about that, and just, within that, of course, the ability to relax is accepting yourself.
Sure.
You're not going to relax about life until you're okay with who you are, right?
It's very true.
So relax and pay attention.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. God damn it, people like me.
And God damn it, I know how to relax.
I'm relaxed.
And I'm paying attention.
That's right. Well, okay. Well, that was great.
That was great. Thanks, Jake.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Cheers. And that's Jake Fleming, everyone, our guest today. And, subscribe. We're still giving away a thing, right? John Mayer underwear, I think we're giving away or something. Yeah, or his Sky, his guitar thing.
Yep.
The guitar.
The guitar.
Not the guitar thing.
We're
going to give away one of those. We get a certain amount of subscribers. We're going to pick one out of a hat, I guess, and
John,
give it away.
If you ever come across this, come be on our show, please.
Yeah, down the street, come visit. And then, thanks for watching, everyone, and check us out. Check our website. We're Music Villa in Bozeman, Montana. We do a lot of lovely things involving music, instruments, and whatnot. And we're the Gear and Beer Show. I'll never get that right. And it's Joe.
This is Blaze.
Jake Fleming, guest.
Blaze
Dustin behind the camera.
Dustin, Blaze just had a birthday. Wish everyone
happy birthday,
Blaze.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Take care, y'all.
You finish it.